Hey, you and Elijah, you have a good thing going. I hope there's a lot more to come.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, we'll see how we go.
So Bookworm, yeah, this couldn't be much further removed from Come to Daddy. Funnily enough, it's both of them represent my two favorite genres, so I love that about these. What inspired you to make the big switch?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've been asked that for quite a bit, especially it's the first film that I kind of my wife can recommend to friends and things that I've been involved with. Yeah, the switch, it wasn't really like let's set out to make a PG movie at all. It was really just what came from the characters
Hmm.
and situations that we wanted to do. We knew Toby and I, the writer I work with, wanted to make a wilderness film.
Yep.
And we wanted to make, it all came from the sort of singular fear we had of just our kids seeing fear in our eyes and not stepping up in a time of crisis. And that's kind of like the singular kernel of the idea that we went out with. And then it was to couch it in a wilderness film, which I grew up loving in the 70s. Like they were just such a popular staple of family entertainment. You had the disaster movies at one end, which were kind of extreme and full on. And then there was this sort of like the families in jeopardy kind of genre, which was hugely popular and then kind of died and just went away. They didn't, there was humor in them, but they were just sort of lightweight filler. They're not
Hmm.
great works of art by any means, but they struck a chord and connected with a really mass audience. So this was kind of like a nod back to those types of films, and felt like a lot of films targeted towards kids felt like they pandered to kids these days, and the adults are an afterthought. Or when my kids were young, I was taking them to films and I was just suffering through the film, and some of the animated stuff, I guess, operates on every level. The Pixar peeps are very good at that. But in terms of family films, yeah, they just seem like they were a lot of the time talking down to kids. So we
Hmm.
just wanted to, yeah, hark back to those sort of old school memories a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Not enough family films put kids in peril. As far as I'm concerned, I think it's important to really, challenge young minds, and I think this one does it. And with Nell, like she was the thing I think was one of the key ingredients when I saw Evil Dead Rise a couple of years ago. I thought she was, fantastic, and not enough people paid enough attention to her performance. So I was stoked to see her in the lead here. How did she nab the part, and what was it in her that you saw was perfect for this role?
I mean, it was funny because we went to see Evil Dead Rise in pre-production down when we were down in that area of New Zealand.
Yep.
And so, yeah, no, Nell was recommended by casting, said check her out. I'd actually seen her in another New Zealand indie called North Spur, actually.
Hmm.
And we ended up looking at 300 kids because you want to make sure the role is so pivotal that the whole film kind of hangs on it, right? So you just don't want to mess that up with
Yep.
the wrong. You could have a great actor just in the wrong part, so they kind of have to meet all the criteria. And just there's so much of Nell that is in very similar to the character
Hmm.
Mildred. They're both precocious has become a word that's kind of tossed around and used as a derogatory term.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's just a kid who's absolutely confident and able to, I feel like able to go toe to toe with adults.
Yeah.
And she can do that. Like she's not phased by working, with a casting crew of like 60, 70 people, and she's the only kid. Just you'd never know. And so I just got that sense when we were talking to her that yeah, this kid, she's Mildred through and through. And then when I saw her next to Elijah in the chemistry read,
Mm.
I totally bought that she could be his daughter in a way. They both got these wonderful, huge, big eyes, that take up
Yep.
their face, and she just got it. She got the character really well. She did her homework. She is a bookworm, like complete bookworm,
Yep.
and she just came really well prepared. She's just a smart kid, and she's going to be massive. Obviously, she's in the new Stranger Things. They
Yep.
totally saw where she was going. So I just felt like really lucky to grab her before we'll never be able to afford her again, probably.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. I hate the fact that my next question was going to mention the precociousness. But but what I want to know is like, was there fine line and a balance on how far you push that precociousness, because you can kind of put the viewer off if you go too far,
Yeah.
but you kind of need it to be there at the same time.
Yeah, there's a lot of shaping goes on in the edit, like you can sort of really feel that balance and the tone that you got to aim for. You want your characters, if they're supposed to be slightly annoying or insufferable, you want to get a hint of it, but like how much is too much?
Hmm.
You can't please everyone. Like some people, it's just then it's they're going to turn on the character really early and not be won over. But I think the majority are won over by both of them, because
Hmm.
Elijah's character Strawn is kind of like not someone you really want to root for, but he's just got such an inherent likability on screen that even though we keep dressing him up in these wackadoodle characters, he brings so much humanity through the character, and he does so much with very little. Like he's no matter how much we dress him up, it's all about his sort of really nuanced micro performances that he does. Like Elijah's just very smart. He just knows just where to go and where he needs to bring it
Yep.
to make the character work. So yeah, Toby and we just love making those sort of characters that kind of sizzle in the dialogue. It's definitely a movie. We don't take place. It's not a kitchen sink drama.
Mm.
The dialogue is really, it's a lot for any kid to get their chops around. Like it's very adult dialogue.
Yep.
And it's kind of it takes place in a movie in a movie. It doesn't take place in reality, and we love that aspect of it because films for me are escapism. I get enough freaking depressing drama in my real life. I don't want to I don't want to see it always on the screen. So
100%.
yeah,
Yeah, and Elijah, one of the things I love about him is that the type of characters that he chooses to play, there's no two characters really that are alike, and they're always kind of eccentric or quirky in some kind of way. Did you write Strawn as an illusionist to begin with, and was he always in mind for the character?
yeah. I mean, the whole project was written for Elijah,
Yep.
pretty much. And we're calling it a loose trilogy of the Trembling Man trilogy, and so Elijah, we definitely want to do another one with him for
Yep.
sure. But yeah, he was always an illusionist. We were thought of like a lot of characters where there's a sort of sad quality to them, and just we wanted him to be like someone who starred probably shone really brightly and now is on the downward curve. And what could be worse of by being someone who's up there with David Blaine potentially, and then now is making balloon animals for Vin Diesel's kids. It just felt like a tragic arc, and then kind of like a perfect spot to start for the audience as a starting point, and then let him kind of build on that and warm up to them by just showing that he's trying, which is kind of what all parents do with
Yep.
their kids, man. There's no sort of rule book that you follow. It's kind of like you just get in there and try and make it work, and that's why it's a coming of age film from two points of view.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I was amused too that you kind of made David Blaine a bit of a villain in there. That was hilarious.
Yeah, hopefully his lawyers are cool with it. We'll see. But yeah, no, we both love Blaine, so he kind of like in a way, and it's like, is it real? Is it not real? His story, because he's kind of, there's he's prone to exaggeration. It's
Yep.
like all illusionists are. It's like what's real, what's not real.
Yep. Yep. Totally. Totally. How involved was Elijah as like a producer on the film?
He's just, he came in from day one on the
Mm.
when the scripts there, and so everything sort of kicked off once he was on board, and it became a very viable project. So, and Elijah always likes to be across everything. Like we've worked as producers together on stuff.
Mm.
Um, he's just got great taste, so we align like that really well.
Yep.
But it was cool seeing it like in at the world premiere, because he hadn't seen one frame of it.
Oh wow.
So it was a cool surprise for him to finally see it. He just held off, because if you start watching rushes and everything and you see rough cuts, it's hard to go back to that day
Hmm.
where it's like it tarnishes it for you. And everyone involved in the film business knows that you get jaded by
Yep.
watching films be constructed, and it kind of it's looking behind the curtain the whole time. And yeah, that's why when people want to show me early cuts, I just say no. I'll see it in the cinema in the end, because you get one shot
Yep.
with
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. I do love that Elijah keeps coming back to New Zealand as well. And you two you obviously click. Are you good mates outside of production?
Yeah, yeah, we are. Like our partners get on really well together. And so I've watched, his kids grow up, and yeah, we're good mates, and it's so much easier when you've got a bit of history together.
Yeah.
And we had so much fun the first time around, so it was a no-brainer to do another one. So yeah, I'd love to work with him again. It just makes it real easy. There's like I can't imagine it with a difficult person in the lead.
Yeah.
It would just there's so much stress involved with filmmaking anyway. Like he just makes it, yeah, he just makes it a joy, and everyone loves that dude. Like
Mm.
it's
Yeah,
insane.
absolutely.
It's like every crew member, like yeah, he's just I don't know, man. He's just a freaking nice guy. I mean, potentially a serial killer because he's so nice. Who knows?
Hides behind
No,
those big baby blues.
yeah, no, he is genuinely one of the good guys of Hollywood who survived that whole child to adult
Yeah.
thing. Not many of them do, and so he grew up in the right environment.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the guy. Someone else I love that I was surprised to see pop up in the film is Michael Smiley because I hadn't read too much into the film before I saw it. I like to go into these things a little bit blind, and when he rocked up, I was taken off guard, and his character was so out there, and I loved it. Um, what was he like to work with, and did you hunt him? Did you go after him
Yeah.
for a?
Oh well, because so Michael was in the other film we did together with Elijah. So it was just like getting the family back together and trying to work
Of
with
course, I forgot
yeah.
about that completely.
There's even a connection in the film between the two characters, between him and his character in the last film. So yeah, no, Smiley's just a gamer. He wanted to obviously we all wanted to work together again. He came down to New Zealand and Australia when he was a stand-up comic way
Hmm.
back in the 90s, and
Hmm.
he's always been wanting to get back. He made heaps of good friends down here. So to be honest, we didn't have to twist his arm very hard to come on board, and I just thought he'd have so much fun with their character, and he can play menace really well. Like you just watch
Yeah.
him in those Wheatley films. He can go super dark, and I just thought like it would be amazing to have a character in a kids film, theoretically a kids film, who brings that much menace to it, but and also yeah. It was just great, man. He just leant into it really well, and then he looks crazy as well.
He does.
Facial hair is amazing.
I interviewed him a couple of years ago, and I'm certain that he was stringing me along because I felt like he was in character the whole time.
He probably was. He takes the piss all the time.
I love it. I love it. Before I let you run, just wondering, were there any films that you leaned into for inspiration or influence when making this?
No, look, it was honestly that childhood nostalgia of reading sort of books like Will
Yeah.
and Grace, which were a huge influence on myself and Toby, and then just the Wilderness Family movies and
Yeah.
the Sea Gypsies, all that kind of stuff in the 70s, that resonated so much as a kid, So, and then The Edge, Lee Tamahori's film,
Yeah. Yeah.
with
Totally.
Anthony Hopkins and
Hmm.
Alec Baldwin. We freaking love that movie. Terrible title. The original title was called Bookworm, so we stole the title, and it's a tribute to Lee Tamahori's film, which is like the grown-up version of a wilderness movie. It is that film's great. If you haven't seen it, everyone should go see that film.
Yeah. I mean, he filmed that one in Vancouver. At least you got to film this one at home.
I filmed my last one in Vancouver. Wow, so yeah, it was nice to shoot in the backyard.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I'm an old native of Vancouver. I love the place. It's just the best. Used to live there.
Yeah,
Um, Thank you so much for making time. Bookworm is fantastic, and I hope that as many people listening or watching this can get out and see it. And good luck with promoting it. I hope it really gets some traction.
thanks, man.
I'm Mildred, and I'm commonly referred to as a bookworm. I'm top of my class. Straight A's all the way. School is like heaven for me academically and socially. I'm borderline obsessed to tell the truth. I like hunting, fishing. Look at this great big bugger! Stuff of adventures.
You don't
Talk like a normal child. I know.
Hello. Mildred, it's me, your dad. I just flew halfway across the world to be with you, little lady.
Great.
Sorry for the whole absent father thing.
What's this?
This is the Canterbury Panther. No one's ever caught definitive proof.
I could take you.
We leave at first light. Hey, stick with me. You'll be fine.
You know where you're going, right?
So, what does the average day for an illusionist look like?
I do appearances.
Wow.
You think it's easy making 100 balloon animals for Vin Diesel's kids?
What the hell is a Vin Diesel?
I heard a creepy sound.
Really? You're 42, Dad?
What did I ever do to you?
Most daughters see their dads more than once a decade.
Mildred,
It's all right to be scared.
I'll look after you. Go, go, go!
You can't do it!
Yes, you can! Nice kitty. Okay, that's officially the craziest thing I've ever seen.
I know. I'm pretty dressed, too. So, can I make one thing perfectly clear?
What's that?
This tent is a fart-free zone. Clear?
Clear.
Good.
I'm so sorry.
Christ.